For the latest, keep it on CBS 4 News.
Good afternoon, Craig Setzer in CBS 4 Weather Control. This is a 3 o'clock update on Hurricane Irma. And the update that we look at here is typically the 3 o'clock position update. And so what we're looking at here is 185-mile-an-hour winds moving to the west-northwest at 16, which is a pretty fast speed. Now, in one aspect, that's good because that means that as the storm is encountering these islands and moving over, it's not lingering. The downside of that is if the folks in the path of it haven't prepared, they don't have a lot of time to prepare. But you can see there the storm size. Basically, it is this right here, which is the tropical storm force wind field. Now, the hurricane winds are concentrated just about under that icon right there, located about 15 miles to the northeast. We're waiting on a Broward County press conference, which is getting underway. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
Of emergency as Hurricane Irma continues to be a very powerful storm with the capability of causing widespread damage. Here in Broward County, we are making preparations on all levels to keep all of our residents and visitors safe as we live through this storm together. We are asking residents living in low-lying, flood-prone areas and mobile home parks to find shelter with a family or friend in order to alleviate traffic congestion. As a reminder, tomorrow at noon, we will begin mandatory evacuations of the barrier islands and all coastal areas east of Federal Highway. We have a good number of residents and visitors on the barrier islands at this time, and we are asking everyone to finalize their evacuation plans and allow plenty of time to get off of the roads and out of harm's way. Do not wait until the last minute. Evacuations for those living in low-lying areas and mobile home areas will also be mandatory beginning tomorrow at noon. 13 shelters will open in Broward County tomorrow at noon. The best way to find a shelter near you is to go to broward.org/hurricane. It is our website, and we will keep you up to date on everything that's happening. I would like to briefly name the shelter locations and cities for those who may not have computer access as well. Lions Creek Middle School in Coconut Creek. Coral Glades High School in Coral Springs. Fox Trail Elementary School in Davie. Atlantic Technical, also known as Arthur Ashe in Fort Lauderdale. Watkins Elementary School in Pembroke Park. Park Lakes Elementary School in Lauderdale Lakes. New Renaissance Middle School in Miramar. Everglades High School in Miramar. West Broward High School in Pembroke Pines. Plantation Elementary School in Plantation. Pompano Beach High School in Pompano Beach. Falcon Cove Middle School in Weston. Monarch High School in Coconut Creek. Please remember that shelters are a refuge of last resort. They provide a safe, short-term place to weather the storm. But you must bring your personal items to ensure your personal comfort. This includes your medications, bedding, snacks, water, etc. We do have a pet-friendly shelter, but all pets must be registered first. Registration forms can be found on broward.org/hurricane. Please note that because of space restraints, pets will be kept in a separate building adjacent to the shelter location at Millennium Middle School in Tamarack. Broward is working with our city partners for transition to recovery shelters if needed. If you are planning to shelter at home, make sure that you have plenty of flashlights or electric lanterns. Please have enough food, water, medications, etc. to last for 3 to 5 days. If you're using a generator, please exercise caution and make sure that your generator is placed outdoors in a well-ventilated area. To report power outages, please go to fpl.com or 800 800-468-8243. That's 800-468-8243. Remember, Broward County Public Schools will be closed Thursday and Friday. Broward governmental offices will also be closed Thursday and Friday. The Broward County Courthouse will be closed tomorrow, Friday, and Monday. The Emergency Operations Center will be fully activated by 7 a.m. on Thursday. BCT will operate on a modified schedule beginning Thursday and continue operations until the weather becomes too dangerous for buses to remain on the roads. For bus riders, this service will operate on a Saturday schedule. For BCT riders, this will operate on a Saturday schedule. All Broward County parks and their facilities, including campgrounds, will be closed on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Once normal operating schedules resume, specific programs and events may also be canceled or rescheduled depending on after-storm assessments. Fort Lauderdale-Hollywood International Airport remains open at this time, though visitors are urged to check with their airline or cruise line for possible schedule changes. There have been several delays and cancellations so far today, mainly to Caribbean destinations. Port Everglades is currently operating under normal conditions. At this time, there are no fuel shortages and the port has adequate supplies of diesel, jet fuel, and gasoline. Trucks will continue to provide fuel deliveries to gas stations throughout South Florida until Broward County experiences sustained tropical storm force winds. Animal Care is currently preparing its shelter to ensure the health, welfare, and safety of staff and their pets in the Animal Care Department. Animal Care is suspending pet adoptions and other services until further notice. Additionally, shelter admissions will be limited to only stray dogs and cats. All tolls across the state of Florida have been suspended to make roads easily accessible for evacuations if ordered. County road maintenance crews are preparing county storm drains to minimize any flooding impact on county roadways. Broward County will begin staging heavy equipment today at various sites around Broward County to allow crews to begin road safety inspections and debris clearance immediately after the storm. Please stay connected to your favorite news source for information and updates. Watch media reports. Broward County news conferences are carried live at broward.org and will be broadcasting live via Periscope and Twitter. Visit broward.org to follow us or Twitter at Ready Broward, or sign up for our Alert Broward text messaging system. And you can like us on Facebook and keep apprised of information at Facebook at Broward EMD. The Broward.org Hurricane website contains a wealth of information, and it'll feature up-to-date information on protective actions, shelter locations, assistance services, and other important recovery information. Please, Broward, be ready, be safe, and get set for this potentially dangerous storm. Now, I'd like to invite our Broward County Sheriff, Scott Israel, up to say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor. Broward County, as I said earlier today is a day where we hope for the best, but we prepare for the worst. Please heed the warnings that you've received. You've watched TV. You've seen what Harvey's done to Texas. Prepare. Have your plan in place. Some of the things that we're doing at the Broward Sheriff's Office is our Director of Traffic is going out to the port, and he will be speaking with truck drivers who will be taking food and oil and gasoline from the port and transporting it into our city, into our county. We will provide escorts for these vehicles so they get safely to where they are so that we could get these supplies. Communicate with your family. If you're going to relocate, that plan should already be in place. As the mayor said, it's very important to get an early start today or tomorrow, because by tomorrow, not only will Monroe County be evacuating, but Dade County will be evacuating. And if Monroe and Dade are coming north, they have to come through Broward County. So the roads sometimes will be not passable. Please get an early start. To our seniors, please have a 2-week supply of all medications. Call your doctor, call your pharmacy, but get the medications and prescriptions filled so you have that 2-week supply. If you're going to a shelter and you're bringing a pet, make sure, as the mayor said, it's a pet-friendly shelter, because the pet is not coming in if you get there, and it's not a shelter for pets. The Broward Sheriff's Office will be having a conference call. Myself and the undersheriff, we will be speaking with all the police chiefs in Broward County tomorrow to have a conference call so that we're all on the same page and we can work together seamlessly. Mayor, I want to, as a personal point, I want to thank you and the commission. The connection between us and the Broward Sheriff's Office has been seamless. Communication has been incredible, and although this storm is deadly, this is going to be Broward County's finest hour. The Broward Sheriff's Office is prepared. We're ready to protect our citizens. We're ready to aid in the recovery process, and we got this. Preparation, training, we have this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. At this time, are there any questions from our news media? Miguel, would you like to come up and give it the information in Spanish?
I can do one-on-ones.
You can do one-on-one? Perfect.
One question. I have a question.
You have a question?
How many places available for sandbags at this point?
There were cities that were giving out sandbags. To my knowledge, there was 2. There was Hollywood and Hallandale at this point.
Mayor, after the noon briefing, I got a question from someone who asked if their boss says it's business as usual Thursday and Friday, is it safe for them to go to work?
Well, at this point on Friday, we're not sure about Friday, but Thursday, yes. We're sure that Thursday would be an okay day to go to work. But Friday, we're going to start experiencing some of the outer bands of the hurricane, and we're just not 100% sure that we can say that at this time.
What should that person tell, that kind of person tell their boss?
Exactly what I just told you.
Well, Mayor Siler apparently this afternoon suggested that he thought it was too early to be calling for evacuations and everything east of Federal Highway.
We have learned lessons over the past few years that we've had hurricanes, and particularly recently when we had Matthew, when we waited and we called later on in the storm, when the storm was coming to us and there was tropical winds. We don't want to take that chance right now. This is a much stronger storm than we have anticipated. It's stronger than what we've experienced in the past, and it's better for us to be safe than sorry. We want people to get to a safe place now. And if you're there for a day before the storm hits, that's fine with us. We just don't want them to be caught in a place where they're calling 911 and we can't get out to get to them. So we're going to be overly cautious at this time, and we're going to ask for voluntary cooperation out there from our residents and our community. We're going to work together, and we're going to get through this storm, and we're going to try to minimize any fatalities and any person that's going to be in distress after the storm.
Is there any thinking about when bridges will be locked down and closed to boat traffic, and when bridges from the barrier islands might be blocked off and people won't be able to use them?
At this time, we're waiting for the storm surge numbers, and we're waiting to see some other updates from our weather center. And so we don't have information on when that exact time is going to be, but we will get back with you with that. Miguel, do you want to?
We've been in discussions with our highway and
Come to
bridge
the
maintenance.
mic.
We've been in discussions with our highway and bridge maintenance. I believe they're looking at enacting the flotilla plan. It's a county plan to close the bridges, and I believe that's may be taking place by Friday, but I can get back to you on a specific time frame. I might add on the issue of evacuations, and we have numerous counties that are currently evacuating from Monroe County north, so that's another reason that we need to get our people out front, away from danger as early as possible.
Are there any other questions? Okay, with that, we'll conclude. We will be back at a later time when we have more information.
Okay, that was the Broward County press news conference there. We're waiting for Monroe County, which should be starting their news conference. And what we've learned, the government agencies are doing this very well. They're not stepping on each other. We've gone through hurricanes back 10, 15 years ago where one agency would have a press conference, another one, and the news conferences would be overlapping. There's a lot of coordination going on, and thank goodness we live here in South Florida because the government agencies seem to be doing the right thing from every aspect of the approach of this storm. as soon as we see the Monroe County news conference begin, we'll go to that. But let me just talk about this whole surge thing and the Harvey event that happened in Texas and what we're expecting here. And they're two entirely different things. Harvey, when it made landfall, had some small storm surge near the Texas coast and some wind near Corpus Christi, and then the system stalled and it became a rain flood event. In South Florida, we don't evacuate for rain flood events. We evacuate from storm surge. We have specific zones. And in fact, there's been a tremendous amount of research to indicate the elevation of the zones, how far we need to go in to get away from the ocean. Because the thinking is, and the possibility is, with storm surge, it's the ocean that floods you, not the rain, the ocean. And that's what we're very, very concerned about in this case. So you don't have to evacuate far. If you're in the evacuation zone, you don't have to go to Orlando. In fact, at this point, I wouldn't recommend it, because what's happening is that many of the gas stations from South Florida northward don't have gas, and you don't want to be stranded on the highways. Back to the storm surge. You just have to get out of the evacuation zone. It may be 2 miles, it may be 5 miles, it may be 10 miles, but you don't have to go far, just out of the evacuation zone. The phrase that we use here in South Florida is flee the water, hide from the wind. So the storm surge is the water. You want to get away from that, but you want to hunker down in the middle of your house if the core of the hurricane comes through here. Let me show you what's going on speaking of the core of the hurricane, and we don't know whether it is coming here or not, but it is going to be close enough that we have great concern, and that's why we need to get people out of harm's way in the evacuation zones. This is the radar from San Juan, and you can see every bit of a powerful Category 5 hurricane. Now, these bands out here, these bands contain hurricane force wind gusts. These are wind gusts over 75 miles an hour, but it's this red part right here. That is the business part of the hurricane. That is the part that you do not want to be hit by, because that is a wall of wind there with winds greater than 150 miles an hour and gusts even higher than that. So, and it's not that wide. It's about 40 miles wide. The eye there is about 25 miles wide, and then there's another 5 miles to 10 miles or so of that wall, the eye wall there. That is the nasty part of the hurricane. If we get impacted by this outside of the hurricane here in South Florida, we should be thankful that we're going through a low-end hurricane. However, if this part comes over us, it's going to be rather significant, and it could be potentially catastrophic by South Florida standards in terms of building damage, widespread, long-duration power outages, considerable storm surge flooding, you name it. There is a lot of potential with that part of the hurricane, and that's what we don't want to come over us. So let's go forward here. First, talk about Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands there, the British Virgin Islands, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. You can see the eye wall just skimming the northern islands right there. There is San Juan. It's going to be a very close call. The eye wall looks like it's moving like that, but it's going to be close enough that everybody that may be watching us in Puerto Rico needs to be ready, especially on the north coast there, to move to your shelter and to hunker down and get the eye wall passed. Also, you want to stay away from the coast there, because there will be storm surge flooding along the coast. Here is the 3 o'clock update. Winds still 185 miles an hour, moving west-northwest at 16, Category 5. And right now, as of 3 o'clock, 15 miles north-northeast of St. Thomas. Here's the cone, and remember, the cone tracks where the center is expected to be, and then only 2/3 of the time. This is the Friday morning time frame. Now, it's going to be very close to the Turks and Caicos, which means that there's going to be a tremendous amount of storm surge flooding right where that eye goes over in the eye wall. Storm surge flooding could be 20 feet. So folks in the Turks and Caicos obviously getting ready for this. The last big storm, I believe, was Ike in 2008, I want to say. That's Category 5, the forecast there. Here we go into the Saturday morning time frame and then into the Sunday. Now, I know a lot of folks, you woke up to this morning, or you saw this afternoon, and you say, wow, that point is right there near Miami. Remember, that is the point that the Hurricane Center uses to define this ring right here. So based on that point, the storm could be anywhere from over here, or, oops, let me clear my screen here. Oh, screen, don't fail me now. All right, well, obviously, and that is going to be a problem because with the arrow there and not being able to clear it, there we go, it's going to be on me. So there is our Sunday morning time frame. What we're going to be looking for is a turn from this west-northwest motion to a north-northwest motion. That turn is going to take place. The problem is we don't know where that turn is going to take place with any certainty, and we don't know how sharp that turn is going to be. The one thing we're going to start looking at here is this black line that runs north-south through just right east of Miami. That is called 80 degrees west latitude. It's a line that's on all maps of the world. So this line right here, if the storm, when it turns, gets to 80 west, and when we do the conditions, you see the latitude and the longitude, and we're at about 26 and 80. If it gets to about 80 when it's coming north, it's going to be a very, very close call for South Florida. If it gets a little bit west of 80, tremendous impact in the Keys, but we really need the storm to go 60 miles away from the point where we are to not see the most severe part of it. It could also not make it to 80. That would be very welcome. Unfortunately, not so good news for the Bahamas, but it would be good if we could kind of thread the needle there just off of our coast, and it wouldn't have to be very far off of our coast to keep the impacts here to South Florida to a minimum. So that is the latest. We're still waiting on Monroe County. They are not starting, so what we're going to do is take a break here, and of course we'll keep you up to date throughout the afternoon on Hurricane Irma.